Early in the morning in Greenwich's Belhaven district, Jennifer Wilson enjoyed her jog with flawless stride. Dressed in sleek Lululemon gear that highlighted her fit physique, she passed by local gardeners who offered polite nods. As one half of the neighborhood's most admired young couples, she caught the envious eyes of onlookers. "Morning, Jennifer." "Good morning, Mrs. Wilson," she replied warmly. She curved gently onto a street flanked by pristine lawns and elegant white homes. Soft spring sunlight filtered through the fresh maple leaves. Back at home, Maria, their housekeeper, had already laid out Jennifer's morning essentials: warm lemon water and organic granola with Greek yogurt, on the marble kitchen island. Michael's espresso awaited, the rich scent of blue bottle coffee filling the air. "Michael, breakfast is ready." Her husband came down from the upper floor, impeccably dressed in his Tom Ford suit, his Rolex sparkling in the dawn light. "I've got to head out early today. Client meetings. Will you be late again tonight?" "Most likely. We've landed several new projects recently." "I understand. But don't forget tomorrow's hospital appointment." "That." Michael glanced at his watch. "You'll manage fine alone, won't you?" "I have a meeting I can't miss." These talks had become increasingly common. After finishing her routine, Jennifer drove to Greenwich Hospital in her luxury car. She took steady breaths, 7 years of fertility treatments behind her, a mix of hope and dread. In the antiseptic-scented waiting room, she clenched her hands tightly. Her Cartier wedding band gleamed coldly beneath the harsh fluorescent lights. "Mrs. Wilson, please come in." Dr. Smith's face revealed everything before he spoke. "I'm sorry. It's negative." Again, Jennifer nodded quietly. Outside, the cherry blossoms visible from the exam room window bloomed in cruel brilliance. "We could explore other options," the doctor said gently, "but considering the emotional toll, maybe a break would be wise." "I'll consider it." On the drive home, she texted Michael. "Got the results?" His brief reply came swiftly. "Okay." The weekend brought the usual family dinner at the Parkers. Surrounded by their elegant Victorian furniture, the traditional roast beef was ready on the table, her mother's favorite dish. "I have news," Ashley, Jennifer's sister, announced abruptly. Her new Hermes scarf swayed at her neck. Jennifer had noticed Ashley's increasingly flashy style lately. "I'm getting a divorce." The clatter of their mother's dropped fork echoed through the room. Their father gripped his red wine glass tightly. "But why? You've only been married 3 years." "I'm not discussing it, but the decision is made." Jennifer caught Michael's subtle reaction, a brief flash of tension quickly masked by neutrality. Something felt off, but she dismissed it as trivial. Afterward, changes crept in slowly. Michael's business trips increased, their conversations dwindled. Receipts from upscale hotels appeared. Strange perfume lingered. Her husband's attention was often absorbed by his phone. Weekend golf outings became more frequent. "You've been busy lately." "Yes, a major new account just launched." "I understand." Alone in their expansive bed, Jennifer lay awake, her body weary from years of treatments, now shadowed by fresh worries. Outside, the spring breeze stirred the cherry blossoms, scattering petals like whispers of a storm yet to break. Late that night, Jennifer sat alone in the living room, the house wrapped in silence. She opened the family photo album, snapshots of their wedding, sun-drenched days in the Maldives, family holidays with Ashley smiling in every frame. A life that once felt so whole now seemed like a fading mirage. At Greenwich Country Club, gray clouds loomed over the vast green lawns. From the window of the clubhouse, Jennifer quietly observed Michael laughing with colleagues on the golf course. Golf had become his new weekend ritual. "How rare to see you by yourself," came a familiar voice. Mary Brown approached, a teacup balanced in her hand. Since her divorce 2 years ago, she had become a well-known businesswoman and community figure. "Yes. Michael's been very into his golf lately," Jennifer replied. "He certainly has. I heard he played up in Vermont last weekend." Jennifer blinked. Vermont? That night, he said he had a client meeting in Manhattan. When Michael returned that evening, an unfamiliar scent clung to his collar. He brushed it off, said it was Clive's new cologne, but something in his tone made Jennifer's stomach knot. Doubts were beginning to take root. One night, her phone buzzed. "Michael. Working late again. Don't wait up." Her hands hovered over the screen before typing. Jennifer. Okay. What about dinner with your parents tomorrow? Michael. Actually, something came up. I have to fly out business trip. That weekend, she sat on the terrace at Lan Quan, stirring a cappuccino gone cold, when a familiar voice called her name. Jennifer. She turned. Her mother stood nearby, arms full of shopping bags. Mom, what are you doing here? Just some errands. Her mother smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. How's Ashley? She's fine. Doing well. A pause, then. She's just resting. But Jennifer could sense something off. Ashley hadn't visited home in weeks. Her online presence had all but vanished. Calls went unanswered. Was the divorce taking that much of a toll? Later, in her study, Jennifer sifted through Michael's credit card statement and paused. Four Seasons Hotel, Vermont. He hadn't mentioned any business in Vermont. Michael, what's this charge? Oh, that. A last-minute trip. I thought I told you. You didn't. I must have forgotten. He didn't look up from the stack of papers in front of him. They rarely met each other's eyes anymore. The next morning, Maria handed her a small card found in the laundry. Vermont Lake Resort, luxury cottage. Scrawled on the back in familiar handwriting. Our usual spot. That night, Jennifer reached for Michael's phone. The password had changed. Sunday brunch at the Parkers was unusually tense. Where's Ashley? Jennifer asked, noticing her sister's empty seat. She's under the weather, their father said softly. She's been unwell for a while now, hasn't she? Has she seen anyone about it? She's fine. Her mother cut in quickly. Just tired. As they cleared the table, her mother's phone buzzed. The name on the screen made Jennifer pause. Michael Wilson. Why would her husband be calling her mother during Sunday brunch? Outside, as she was about to leave, her father walked her to the car. He opened her door and gave a gentle smile. Jenny, I want you to know I'm proud of you. She froze at her father's sudden words. What brought that on? Just wanted you to know, he murmured. His eyes shimmered with tears. He didn't bother to hide. At the Greenwich Country Club, in the echoing quiet of the women's locker room, Jennifer overheard two voices chatting idly. Did you hear? The Wilson heir just bought a cottage in Vermont. No way. And his wife doesn't know. Apparently not. People say he's been seen up there often, with a younger woman. Jennifer walked away, her Chanel heels clicking sharply on the marble floor, each step ringing like a warning bell. That night, in front of the bathroom mirror, she dabbed away the last traces of makeup. Her mind turned over everything. The increase in mysterious trips, the unfamiliar perfume, the sudden change in passwords, her family's evasiveness, and Ashley's slow disappearance from their lives. Were these mere coincidences? Or was she finally seeing a picture that had long been forming beneath her? A summer storm roared outside. Thunder shook the windows. The chandelier swayed above like it too was trying to speak. Lying in bed, Jennifer stared blankly at the ceiling, no closer to peace. Tomorrow, Michael had asked her to arrange repairs for his laptop. He was away. This could be her only opportunity to pull back the curtain on everything. The following morning, she sat before Michael's MacBook. He had said it was running slow. Odd. Normally he left tech issues to his assistant or IT. Her fingers hesitated at the login screen. She tried their usual password, his birthday and their anniversary. It opened. Everything on the desktop was obsessively neat. Work folders. Old photos. One strange icon caught her eye. Instagram. But not his usual account. Her heart thudded in her chest. She clicked it. The login page loaded and automatically bypassed with save credentials. MW_Vermont. Only 43 followers. Fake-looking profiles. And then, the most recent post stopped her breath. A sunlit photo. A lakeside cottage. Michael. Ashley. A baby in their arms. Their smiles effortlessly warm, domestic. Jennifer sat motionless. Every unanswered question, every half-truth, every distant glance fell into place like puzzle pieces snapping together. Michael's constant travel. Ashley's mysterious divorce. The tension at family dinners. The Vermont receipts. The perfume that wasn't hers. Everything had led here. Her phone rang. Michael! He knew. She didn't answer. It rang again. Still, she let it buzz until it stopped. A message lit up the screen. "Jenny, please pick up. I can explain. There's a reason for this. A reason. 7 years. 7 years of injections, of waiting rooms, of negative tests, of hope crushed monthly. And while she carried that grief, her husband, and her sister, her hands trembled as she silenced the phone. The quiet of her study pressed in like fog. She rose slowly, legs unsteady beneath her. In the bathroom, she splashed her face with cold water. She looked up. The face in the mirror seemed unfamiliar. Perfectly groomed brows, flawless skin, a mask 35 years in the making, now beginning to crack. Audibly, she opened the closet, lifted down a suitcase. She packed only what mattered. Her Chanel suit, financial papers, passport, the pearl necklace from her mother, and the wedding album. The last time she believed in that story. Her hands paused above the album. Happy faces stared back, 7 years ago. Michael's arm around her shoulders. Ashley beside her, radiant in matching bridesmaid satin. Their parents beaming with pride. Photos that once meant everything. Now, they felt like evidence. Where had it all started to unravel? Was it always an illusion, or had reality quietly soured while she clung to a dream? She walked toward the foyer and stopped at the gallery wall. Dozens of framed moments. Christmas dinners. Birthday cakes. Vacations in Aspen. Champagne toasts on anniversaries. Once cherished. Now, each frame whispered betrayal. She scrolled through her phone's call history one last time. Ignored every missed call and unread message. Deleted them all with a swipe. At the entryway, she slipped off her Tiffany wedding band and placed it gently on the lacquered table. A quiet gesture of ending. 7 years. 7 years of effort. Silence, compromise, left behind like forgotten mail. She opened the front door. The air was crisp. Her voice was steady. "To the Del Mar Hotel, please," she told the driver. Inside the car, she pressed her palms to her face. No sobs came. No tears. Only a strange, weightless feeling. Like grief had quietly packed its own suitcase and left ahead of her. Outside, Greenwich Avenue passed in slow motion. Familiar storefronts. Hermes. The florist on the corner. The French cafe where she once met Michael for espresso on lazy Saturdays. The golf club gates they once drove through laughing. Now it all felt like someone else's life. A set she had stepped off for good. At the Del Mar Hotel suite, Jennifer stood on the balcony. Twilight settled over the rooftops. One by one, lights flickered on in the grand houses across the bay. Each one held its own truth. Some bitter, some built on silence. The moon hung low and full above it all. Under its watch, she would begin again. The next morning, clouds pressed low over the skyline. Jennifer, freshly showered, closed her laptop after finishing a video call with a lawyer Mary had recommended. Her phone buzzed with alerts. Over 100 unread messages. Sarah Johnston's words echoed from earlier. "We have enough to proceed." Infidelity. A secret child. A carefully orchestrated cover-up spanning the entire family. Jennifer looked out at the bay. Rain had begun to fall, gentle but cold. The water below shimmered like melted pewter. The intercom rang. "Yes." "Madam, you have visitors," came the concierge's voice. "Mr. and Mrs. Wilson." Her chest tightened. Not yet, she thought. But it was time. Send them up. The suite's heavy door swung open. George and Elizabeth Wilson entered slowly. Their elegance was still intact, but dulled. Even their posture carried the weight of what had unraveled. "Jennifer," Elizabeth said, her voice more fragile than usual. "May we speak with you? There's nothing left to say." George took a step forward, ever the diplomat. "This is a family matter. Let's handle it with dignity for the sake of our name." Jennifer's expression didn't waver. "Our name," she echoed. "I've spent 7 years being your perfect daughter-in-law. Silent, smiling, while all of you watched my life crumble for your legacy." The room went still. Only the soft tapping of rain filled the silence. Elizabeth's gaze dropped. "I never wanted it to happen like this." Before another word could pass between them, the door opened once more. Michael entered. His tie was loose, the shine in his shoes dulled by the rain. "Jenny," he said breathlessly, "let's stop this." "Stop what, Michael?" He hesitated. "We can work something out. A settlement. Quiet. No courtrooms. No press. Jennifer let out a low, cold laugh. A sound that held no humor, only clarity. A settlement, she repeated, as if this was just business. A property to divide. A contract to dissolve. She looked each of them in the eye, one by one. Do you think that's all this was? You think a check can fix my life? Jennifer's tone was icy, stripped of any warmth. Michael flipped open his checkbook. Name your price. We can't allow a scandal. She cut him off, voice rising like a blade. 7 years of injections and hope. Every month another jab, another crushing disappointment. While you and my sister built your own little family behind my back. Her eyes stung with tears she refused to shed. We fell in love, Michael whispered, as if confessing a sin. Her stomach twisted. The betrayal was so vast it nearly knocked her off her feet. In just a moment, Miss Johnston will display everything, came Sarah's calm announcement. On the suite's big screen, proof unfurled, old Instagram posts, the deed to that Vermont lake house, jewelry receipts stamped with dates, and, finally, the DNA report. Your son's birthday is April 15th, Sarah's voice relayed with clinical precision. This affair has spanned at least 2 years. George and Elizabeth's faces drained of color. A settlement, Jennifer repeated, her voice steely. All right, but on my terms. She gave her demands clearly and without hesitation. Expel the Wilsons from Greenwich Country Club. Transfer the Vermont cottage into my name. A payout of $10 million for the toll of those 7 years. Sarah's nod was firm. Those are the conditions. Preposterous. George bellowed. Jennifer pivoted, calm and unyielding. And what of your family's reputation, Senator Wilson? What headline would your electorate see? Silence swallowed the room. 24 hours, Sarah declared. After that, this goes public. Michael slumped into the velvet armchair. Understood. At that moment, the door reopened. Ashley entered, cradling a baby. Sis, meet your nephew. Jennifer's gaze remained fixed on the mist-shrouded bay. Leave, she said quietly. Now. The infant began to wail. Each desperate cry pierced Jennifer's heart, the child she had yearned for, now held by the sister who betrayed her. Draft the papers by 9 tomorrow, Sarah instructed, closing the chapter. One by one, the Wilsons filed out. Jennifer stepped onto the balcony. The rain had stopped. A cool autumn wind stirred her hair. Below, the lights of Greenwich Avenue glimmered like distant promises. Her phone buzzed. Caller ID. Dad. Jenny. I'm so sorry. I failed you as your father. That was all it took. She let the tears fall, this time, unguarded and real. Night deepened around her. The Delmar's facade glowed against the bay's glassy surface. Tomorrow, she would wake to a life wholly her own. Spring 2025. Sunlight flooded the glass-walled offices of Wilson and Brown Real Estate on Greenwich Avenue. Congratulations. Mary Brown toasted with champagne. Today's Greenwich Times calls you the rising star of local real estate. Quite the headline. Thank you, Jennifer replied, voice warm but steady. I couldn't have done it alone. Mary smiled, clinking glasses. No, that was all your courage. Jennifer moved to the window, watching cherry blossoms drift in the breeze. 1 year ago, none of this would have been possible. The divorce went through smoother than anyone expected, Mary continued. Powerful families still hate a spectacle more than a payout. Jennifer nodded. They met my every demand. Mary's expression softened. So, how's the adoption process coming along? Jennifer turned back to her friend, the future already unfolding before her. Jennifer smiled gently at Mary's question. Yes. Final interview next month. A 14-year-old girl, she lost her parents in an accident. On her desk sat a few photographs from their meetings. In the first, the girl's expression was tense, wary. In the second, a hint of a smile. And in the third, taken just last week at the library, she was laughing, caught mid-moment. A real, unguarded connection. You two will make a wonderful mother and daughter, Mary said softly. Thank you. Just then, her secretary entered. Miss Wilson, about the interview with the New York Times. Jennifer Parker, she corrected gently. I don't use that name anymore. Leaving the office, the spring breeze brushed her cheeks. People along Greenwich Avenue smiled and nodded. She was now known as one of the town's most successful women in business. Meanwhile, in Manhattan's financial district, former investment bank VP Michael Wilson had become a shadow of himself. Fearing scandal, the bank demoted him. Now he worked quietly in a back-office role. The Vermont cottage was gone. The Wilson family fortune had dwindled. Her grandfather, the senator, had announced his sudden retirement. The Wilson name no longer inspired pride. Ashley now lived in suburban New Hampshire, raising her child alone. Her once busy social media accounts had vanished. So had her contact with Jennifer. Any hope of reconciliation had faded into silence. The Parkers, Jennifer's parents, lived a quiet retirement now. Sometimes they sent flowers. They never visited. Their silence spoke of lingering guilt. Back at Wilson and Brown Real Estate, a visitor waited in the lobby. "Hello, I'm David Carter, professor at Harvard Law." He had been introduced by Mary not long after the divorce. With time, his thoughtful calm and quiet humor melted away the walls Jennifer had built. "Are you free tonight?" he asked gently. "Yes," she smiled, "but I'm meeting the child first." "Of course. May I come along?" On the way to Greenwich Library, David said softly, "I was adopted too." Jennifer turned toward him, surprised, then smiled. Warmth bloomed in her chest. At the library, Sarah waited eagerly. "Jennifer, I found a new book!" she exclaimed, eyes sparkling. David stayed back, watching with a quiet smile. There was no need to rush. They had time. Plenty of it. On the way back, the sun dipped low over Greenwich Bay. The sky painted in soft amber and violet. "How about a picnic next weekend with Sarah?" David suggested. "That would be lovely." As they passed through Belhaven, her former home came into view. It belonged to someone else now. She felt nothing. No sadness. No longing. Only peace. That evening, the three of them shared dinner on the Del Mar Hotel's terrace. Sarah glowed, chatting excitedly with David about her favorite books. She laughed freely, her first unguarded smile. "You look happy," Mary said softly beside her. "I am," Jennifer replied. Her voice was calm, full. This is real happiness." The spring breeze off the bay stirred her hair. No more doubt. No more fear. This was the life she chose. On the day she thought she had lost everything. In truth, it was the beginning. Jennifer stood. "Let's go home." To their new home. Where love waited. Where family, chosen and earned, was finally hers.